and welcome to another Sprinkler Talk from Project Fire. So in this series we're looking to talk to a variety of different people from within the fire sprinkler industry, and I'm pleased to introduce you to Afolabi from Rapidrop, who's going to be talking to us about what Rapidrop are all about, some of the products, some of the background, some of the stories, and also be talking about his role as being a sales manager and kind of what that means, what does he kind of get up to. So it'd be nice to kind of hear that different perspective. And also, you're no stranger to social media, are you? You've got your own little channel, follow Fol on LinkedIn, so a little plug for you there. Okay, let's start by talking about some of the background. So first of all, the background of Rapidrop itself. So I thought that maybe that the name came from the product with your star product, the flexible connector. Is that right? Is that how it started?
Yeah, it's correct. I think first started off as IFI Fire, and when they launched the Rapidrops, which became a very successful product, a lot of people refer to the Rapidrops as Rapidrops. And then one of the things that was thought, actually we should change the name to Rapidrop. So obviously, as you can see on the logo, we have the sign which actually is a flexible and with the pipe, and that's how it's become the name Rapidrop, which has been successful for us. It links in with the product, which we'll see a lot of contractors will actually ask for Rapidrops,
yes.
And it's turned it it's turned it into a brand itself,
yes.
Rapidrops. But obviously that was the first product that we brought into the market. Which we have LPCB, did FM, UL, and we had a VDS one as well. And from bringing in the flexibles, we just started to grow the range, which then started with sprinkler heads, which a lot of people were very surprised when we said we're going to manufacture them in the UK.
Yeah.
And that was quite a bold move. And you can imagine it takes a long time to get any type of head accredited. And the biggest thing for us was doing multi-listing. When you look at a lot of manufacturers, sometimes from other places, we'll see products come in and it might only have one approval. But because we want to be global, that means we've got to look at LPCB, FM, UL, VDS and CE. And that's one of the biggest challenges when you're manufacturing a head, is that you've got to pass all those different approvals.
Yes.
So if we don't pass one, then it means that we can only have certain approvals. So over the years, we've just grown and grown the range. And then from sprinkler heads, we started to add valve sets. We started to add other products. We teamed up with sort of leading brands like Clayval, Potter. I put Project Fire in there with zone checks. So that's been great for us, just to help start put a range together. And we've just seen the business grow and grow and grow.
Yeah, that's right. I know it is Rapidrop global now, isn't
That's
it?
correct,
So,
yeah.
what other sort of countries are you involved with?
So we export, I think, to over 70 different countries. We have warehouse in Holland. We have warehouse in Poland. Obviously the UK, where we actually manufacture our standard range of sprinkler heads.
Yeah, over in Peterborough.
That's correct, in Peterborough, yeah. Still our headquarters are in Peterborough. We do all the trimming of alarm valves, pump initiation boards, and then when we get onto the specialist products for monitored valve sets for BS925 2021, we're also assembling and doing all the wiring and all the testing in-house. We've put a lot into into our manufacturing with specialist machines. One of them, we have a special hydronic test machine, so we can test valve sets on there. The production line, we've got a great team of engineers, and they've actually developed a lot of our machines that we use in-house, so which is great because it means that we can look after all of those. So as well as, like you say, exporting into different countries, we're in South Africa, where we have a colleague that's based out there. We have warehouse out there as well. And then obviously, we do the Middle East, so we can do all the different countries from the Middle East, Rapidrop India as well. And what we find is, I think we talked about it, we've got something like 50-something different languages spoke within the business. I think even just from Peterborough, we might have sort of 10-15 different languages.
Oh, that's useful to have that in-house, yeah.
It's massive for, like sometimes when we're doing places like Lithuania, Romania, or different countries, Portugal, Italy, we always have someone that can usually speak that language. And as you know, it can be difficult sometimes when you're doing technical sales,
yes.
terminology,
yes,
and obviously translation as well. So there's a lot goes into that, and that's been brilliant sometimes when you sort of think, right, something's come through and you think, oh, I can get someone that can go and speak to her in that language, and that's helped definitely grow the sales across the globe.
I mean, we're lucky, aren't we, with English being an international language. We can hold that initial conversation, but I can imagine when it gets down to technical language that a native speaker is what you need. Yeah.
And also sometimes people want to be comfortable speaking in their what I call it, their natural tongue.
Indeed.
And so I sort of think by having that balance where someone can speak more than one language is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when we start talking, you go to trade shows, and we've done many. I've been to different trade shows, and it's absolutely brilliant when you can call on a colleague, like to help you, to support you, and you think, that's brilliant. And I think it helps what we do. I think gives our customers trust in us, and I think it's a really important part of the business.
So I've got to ask you then.
Yeah.
Can you speak another language?
No.
No, you're English only.
English only, yeah. My language skills are terrible, to be honest. I do try.
You got other people on the phone ready to go.
I was going to say without that, I'd be struggling. Which I think it's quite a common thing, actually. It does amaze me when I speak with some of my colleagues, and I think you're doing 2 or 3 different languages, and you can switch from one language to another. One of it's Ricardo, it just always amazes me, from French to Spanish to Italian to Portuguese, and I just think it just amazes me. I'm at awe with people when I just see. I think, I should have paid more attention.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I wish I'd studied a bit harder.
Because I remember once, this was like in the other industry, and I used to do some work with a guy from Germany, and he spoke a few different languages. And one of the things I asked him, I said, when you're doing business in those countries, are you writing and thinking in German? He goes, no, when I'm in the country, I will try and write and think in that language. And he says, that helps me sort of keep my skills up as well. And, I take my hat off to anybody where you sort of think, you go to a different country and you address an audience in a different language, technical items as well, and you sort of think it's hard enough to do it yourself in your own language. So, so for all those people that speak different languages, I've got to applaud them.
Absolutely. So let's talk about your background then. So how long have you been working with Rapidrop? What did you do before that?
I've been working with Rapidrop for 10 years now. Previously, I was in the fenestration industry. So I was in window and door supplying hardware, window and door manufacturing. The strange link was when I first started, I joined IFI, which is another part of Rapidrop as well, which is our window and door division.
Yes.
Which is still going to this day. That's been going for 40 years. So originally I was employed to work with Dan Gill, who was the original founder of Rapidrop, and I worked with him for nearly sort of 8 years. And I covered West Midlands, covered the North area, and then I think you have ambitions, don't you? And one of mine was I sort of thought, doing a really good job with with IFI at the time, which I enjoyed, and I thought I wanted to get an idea, what's it like to go and work for a manufacturer. Be a little bit more direct to customers. So I went to work for a Danish company called Miele. Did that for another 6 years, which I really enjoyed. And then I had the opportunity to join Yale Afolabi Group, which was still in window and door hardware. But obviously they were like one of the biggest lock manufacturers in the world. And if you ever go and look at their acquisition trail, it's sort of like amazing what they did to grow themselves. That was very corporate, but I must admit I learnt a lot from that company, and I was there for about another 8 years. After doing that for over 20 odd years, I wanted to felt I wanted to go into a different industry. The strange thing was I'd always been supplying IFI with the Yale products, and they'd been a big customer, so I'd been watching about the fire side, never took a blind notice of it. I'd still speak with Martin at that time, and he'd sort of tell me what he was doing. I used to think, it's really strange. What you go out, you do a little bit of sales, and you get a large order from a project. I'd been used to what we call sort of like OEM sales, so you're selling direct to a manufacturer. He uses something every day, component wise, and it was just strange. I said to him, "No, I'm going to be thinking of leaving Afolabi Yale Group." He goes, "What are you going to do?" I said, "No, I want a bit of a career change," and then one thing led to another, and he just said, "Oh, we might have a little opening, might have something happening." I thought, okay, I'll have a little go. Went for an interview with, obviously not with Martin, did it with Keith Plater, spoke with Dan Gill, and he said, Keith is running the show, you're going to have to go and have your interview with Keith. more we started talking about the industry, and I started sort of, it's quite interesting. I think what attracted me to it was, one, it's an accredited, lot of approvals. The entry barrier is hard.
Yes, it
you
is.
Can't just have, you haven't got 50 different companies sort of selling the same products or just bringing things in.
Yeah, you've got to be serious about it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'd always enjoyed the sort of like technical sale, solving solution selling, and from what I could see it doing, I thought, this could fit. Hardest thing I ever did, because although you feel like you've got the sales skills and you understand business, it was going into a whole new industry, different terminologies, understanding standards, understanding a different world of construction build. So it was very daunting, but best thing I ever did, I think. So that's sort of my journey and my sort of connection, which is strange. So I already knew the group, already worked within it. So there's a few of us like Martin that have worked on both sides. So I think that really helps, because I understand how Rapidrop, how IFI work. It was really good. So that's the best thing I did. So I've had a sort of like history of over 20 odd years, in and around IFI Rapidrop. So yeah, it's been interesting watching it change. And it also links in with the flexibles, because I remember I was still working at IFI and the first flexible products coming in crates, and you just sort of think, what is that? Knew nothing about the fire industry, and I remember, I think Dan said, this is going to be really big. At the time I left, and I just thought,
yeah, I can imagine it going, it was just a flexible pipe. How big can it be?
Yeah, I knew nothing about the fire industry. I went on, carried on doing my window and door hardware, supplying major companies, and then you come back and you sort of see this product that's exploded, and this one product has taken them into all these different countries, and also brought in a lot of other products, and then you start digging into it, and you start to realise that this fire industry is really big. I sometimes feel like that it's like the best kept secret that people don't know about, and then as you get into it, you realise, wow, it's everywhere. But as I've been working in other industries, you realise that actually you have been next to these industries, just not paid any attention.
I describe my role, my job at Project Fire as being a niche within a niche, because the fire and sprinkler industry is a fairly niche industry, and then we're selling niche products into a niche industry. So
and then when you look at the sort of types of buildings you do, and you look at all the products you go into it, you sort of realise that sprinklers or fire products are into so many different types of buildings. But then that also brings in all the other types of trades. So you've got your window and door stuff, you've got your aircon stuff, but you're not always all together in one building. You sometimes think, this is the same building. They're concentrating on selling their products into that sort of field. So so the connections in that way work sort of well, and start thinking, I can get an understanding of this business. But it's taken time. And like often people say, how long did it take you to sort of understand it? And I said, I'm still learning every single day. Every day I pick up new stuff. It mostly took me a good 2 to 3 years before I felt that I was starting to understand it. And then I thought, yes. And then you think, wow, there's even more. So, like coming to see people like yourselves, Project Fire, going to see different manufacturers, and then speak with your customers, you start to just pick up more and more, start to understand, what they need, what the requirements are, and, hopefully sort of build up trust with people.
I know exactly what you mean. You speak to people and they make a comment and they say, well, of course, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, I didn't know that, but bank that for next time.
Or sometimes you sort of think you're leading with something that I think is really important in what a product does, and then it will be, no, we need to think about this, and you sort of think, maybe it's the way it's packaged, or the way we supply it, or it's the technical information. And I think you'll have the same thing. A lot of the time it's pulling out the relevant information to that client or customer for what they see. So it's a lot to do.
All right, let's talk more about your role then. So UK sales manager. So what does that mean? What's your normal week look like, or do you have a normal week?
I was going to say, a normal week for me is obviously our main thing is working with the contractors, whether that be residential or commercial. That will be looking at putting together quotes, putting together proposals. It could be doing like we're doing now, talking through products, going through making sure that people understand what the product does, how it works, and then that links in with working with consultants, with architects, because you often find that you are getting pulled from different directions, or what people want to do. A lot of that will be going to visit people in their offices. There can be a lot of site visits, because as you know, a lot of people are often working on site. So I will do lots of meetings, whether that be to site or to the offices. When I look at it, obviously with London being so busy, you've got a majority of time that will be spent in London, because there's just so many buildings going up. And then I look at it also I feel like it links with the main sprinkler areas. You look at Manchester, you look at Birmingham, you look at Leeds, and then always laugh, you'll have like Wales, Swansea. So the main areas where you see a lot of buildings going up, I also feel that's the areas that I'm going to go to. And then you throw in there Ireland, and you throw in Scotland as well, where we've got the big areas like sort of Glasgow, Edinburgh, and then obviously all the surrounding areas. But the job is, it's a lot of involvement, even down to the way Rapidrop work. I will get involved with marketing, as in I sort of say more in sometimes what I feel customers want to know about products. So there'll be a lot of things where I sort of think, I want to talk about some key features of the product, say like on one of our heads, to the fact that we know that you don't have to take the protective cover cap off. We know we've got marker lines, so to me there'll be important things that I feel that the customer wants to know. Even down to some of the catalogues we do. I'm working with the customer every day, and I sometimes think, what they're struggling with is codes, or it's putting things into, call it like intersections. I like to think, if I'm doing stuff for residential BS 95 2021, it's nice to have all the stuff that's grouped together, because you imagine you have a massive portfolio of products, but sometimes you're trying to concentrate it. If it's sort of warehouse type things, there's going to be certain K-factor heads, certain guards. Try and get it together, even though you've got all the data sheets, and it's that type of stuff. So from day to day it can vary. And also the same thing is, if something happens, you've got to be reactive. So I might think I might say I'm planning to go to Wales, or I'm planning to go to Birmingham next week. Something comes up, just change your diary and I'll go to where I need to be. The work with consultants and fire engineers and architects is very important as well, where we have some of the specialist heads like the RD102, which is one of our best selling heads, which is a quick response head. That's a lot of the aesthetics. They want to see what it looks like. There might be questions about how low, how much of it protrudes, that's a big part of the day. And then that will link in. Sometimes that might be a project that I know starting in 3 or 4 years. So you're trying to track it, and then you're trying to find out who's quoting for it. Are you going to win it? So it's a varied job. It's not just selling as such, because there's a lot of what I call technical support, and then just support in general. You're there to help your customers. Your phone, constantly on. People are busy, and I know that if someone's on site, it's easy to say, you could just go on the website, look at the data show. Sometimes it's easier. They'll ring me,
exactly,
or they'll come through to the office, and I'll sort of think, I can find that information and give them that information. If that means that they can get on with their work quicker,
that's right,
which is important.
I do quite a lot of that. I'm often answering questions that don't actually relate to our products, but it's building that relationship, isn't it? And I'll help you out with that, and then hopefully
sometimes I'll have to say, look, I don't do this product, but you can go to this supplier. Some people say, what you do that? Of course, I said it's. If I can't do it, it's there about helping someone. Hopefully they'll come back.
Exactly.
And they'll know that, if I help them, hopefully they'll help me back again. So it's very important.
Something you said there earlier on, come back to it. You said sprinkler head covers, you don't have to take the protective cover off.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Right. So if we look at all of our concealed heads, our flush pendant heads, they come with. I should have actually got one of my sample ones. It made it easier. So where we have the protective cap on the head, on some manufacturers you have to take the protective cap off, then you'll actually screw the head in. We had a special design where the protective cap stays on, so you're speeding up the installation. So instead of doing two-part installations, we do one. The head stays protected, screw it in, and then you have visual marker lines so that you can see where it is in the ceiling. So again, if I go to a site, that can really help me to straight away to look, have they got their installation right? Have they spoke with the guys that are doing the ceiling? It's a visible aid. So these are the things that we'll go out and promote and sort of try to explain. That's every single one of our concealed flush pendant type heads that we do. Will always have that feature, and so that's a massive push for us. So sometimes it can be just those little things that you take for granted that you have it in your range, and you don't talk about it, and then you have to remember, oh, actually no, he doesn't. So every time, say, oh yeah, take the cap off, go to put it back on, it falls off again. You sort of think, oh, I've got one, just put it on, and it stays on. Yeah. Then you pull it off at the end of the job. So yeah, still.
Oh yeah, and another time-saving kit. Yeah.
And those are the things, like you said, that you pick up from when you go on site, and that can be talking to the guys that are actually using the products. And that can also help us, goes into like development. So when we looked at launching the RD102, we took feedback from contractors, we spoke to end users, we spoke to consultants about, what do you want? We want a low profile head, we want to see that the head can match the cover plate, we want to have it in different rail colours. And then I think we went through maybe 3-4 years developing this head, so I'm going to bring it into the market, and I think we hit what people wanted, and it's been very successful. So you present that head, and a lot of times people say yes, it ticks the boxes of what we want. And part of that is from listening to the market, because we had a head that we did before, which was a good head, and people said that there's some things that we want to change. And that's one of the great things with Rapidrop. I'm able to go and speak with Keith and speak with Martin and say, look, for the UK market, this is something that I think if we can do this, I think we can get more business. And they're great, and sort of say, right, let's look at the numbers. Can we do this? Work with our manufacturing partner, like you say, and then it starts, doesn't it? On this one, we've got to go to LPCB, got to go through these approvals. It's got to be quick response, and it takes time. And then finally, when you have those sort of products, it's great. You go into the market, you have something new, and then you watch people start to adopt it, and it's one of the best feelings when you watch a product. Most of you seen with like zone checks and things, and you watch it gain traction in the market, and then people are calling for it by name.
Yep. Yeah, awesome. And I guess there's another sort of area of your job, which is, I know you've been to exhibitions and events, haven't you?
Yeah.
There's corporate stuff to do, and dinners and all that kind of stuff. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's interesting because, like you say, the corporate dinners. I mean, like yesterday, I went to the Project Fire, whether it's Golf Day, which is great, which is with different contractors, and it's just nice to be able to take a step back from the day-to-day selling and just spend some time with people, get to know them better. But it is still to a point. You are still working. You do talk a little bit of work, but they're the late nights, and then you've got to get up and do something else. Exhibitions is important. Like we're part of BAFSA. We're involved with the FSN, and there'll be a lot of other organisations we're involved in. And I sort of think if we're in this industry, then it is important for us to support these events, because this is what is giving us business. But we did the Fire Sprinkler International event in Dublin, which was a well-attended event. I think it was over 400 and something delegates. And interesting enough, there was a good 25 to 30 sprinkler contractors that come. But what was good as well, there was different seminars on different things that are happening in the industry. So like whether you wanted to know about the latest standards that were changing in Ireland for residential, whether it was like warehouse high hazard protection, and just have different events going on. And it was great because you'd see people going to these different things. And even for me, going to some events and you're listening and you're thinking, okay, that's good. Where do I need to go in the next years? Where's this market? So for us, you can market trends. It's also a great way to meet different clients. The one in Dublin was great because you had people from all over Europe and also people from other parts of the world as well that managed to travel over. So it just shows you just how powerful going to these events are. Yeah, and like you say, that's another one. Like you get there, you know, you've got to set up, you've got to get all your gear to somewhere, you've got to man the stand. You know, it's a long day, and you do it for 2-3 days. And yeah, you know, as I'm getting older, I do feel it. You know, you've been talking, you know, you're in an aircon room, you eat, you go out, you're back at the stand again. Yeah, it's part of the job that you have to do, and you know, sometimes like this week we've had 2 in 2 weeks, and then you know, we may not have anything for a long time. Other stuff we'll do things like if it's BAFTA events, we'll just try and, if they've got an event, try and attend, you know, take products down because people want to see stuff. So for me, it's very important to support these different things.
Yeah, so it's a high energy job sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it is, and it's right. You know, sometimes you get up and you think, oh, yeah, come on, and then like you say, you get talking, and you just sort of get into it again, and you sort of feel like, right, you know, it's something that we do. You're always talking about products. You know, sometimes it's the same things that you go through, but just different sort of scenarios that people ask you. But it's a great way to be able to communicate with people and find out what they want. And sometimes it's the best place because people are taking their time out from a workplace. They've got time to think and talk. So we get some good stuff from the shows.
Excellent. Can we talk about FlowWatch? I know that's a relatively new thing that's kind of, was that an acquisition from Rapidrop?
It was. I think what happened. I think it was around 2020. We was approached by a company that says we've started to make a sprinkler monitoring system. They'd noticed themselves because they'd done contracting work. There was a big problem with flow switches not being linked to anything, and also like with it being a discipline of fire, that people didn't understand what the signals wanted to do. So at the time, we already knew that the standards were going to be changing, and that they're going to be asking for monitoring of ball valves and, you know, tanks, pumps. So it was a great opportunity to say, hold on, this is a product that we can see where they're going for it. How can we look at the standards, work with this company, and start to get it ready for 2021? And so through that, we got involved, and then we started saying, right, you know, so if we do this, we're going to need to add this to the product, we need to do this, the standard's going to say it needs to do this. And so what we did is started working slowly, getting all of these points done. It was really doing it, and it worked well for flow switches, and we thought, right, you know, we need to increase it. And also, technology-wise, you know, everybody's with smartphones, everybody wants to know what's happening. And when you start to explain something that all of a sudden now, you know, someone turns a valve, I can get a notification, whether that's email or via text, or I can go online and see what it's doing. So, you know, all of a sudden I'm able to say to someone, right, we can see what it is. The valve's shut, or there's a wiring issue. You can pinpoint exactly what it is. And the way sites are, you know, we don't know where sites are going to be. It just makes it so easy. And then that's been great, because when you have a case where someone says, oh, it's, you know, it's worked. We had an alert.
And you're like, yeah, of course it worked.
Yeah, you sort of think, yeah, that's what it's for. And I said, so you can decide who needs to go. Do you need an electrician?
Yeah.
Does it need to be someone that's mechanically minded? Actually, do you need to send someone there? Do they have someone on site that can actually put that right? So that was something new that we've got into, and that's just growing and growing and growing. And obviously, as the standards have changed, as we're seeing more residential come in, it is growing.
Yeah.
And it's an early market, and I think it's just going to grow and grow. And that's also going to help us lead us into, which is our next game, is to get into the commercial panel side, because we know that we need to have a full panel that's LPCB approved. You know, there's certain other standards that we need, but to offer a bigger package. So I think what we've always done at Rapidrop, we're always trying to look at, can we find new products? Can we find innovative things as well? You know, and also just team up with different people so that we can hopefully grow our market, because you've got to keep improving and moving forward, which is what we try to do.
Yeah, I think that was really important with the 2021 update. It did make me uncomfortable to have this. It was quite a typical setup, wasn't it? To have, you probably have a monitored valve on the zone, but then you'd have valve outside each apartment. Nothing, no monitoring. You think that's not the way. So now a product like FlowWatch can pick up all those signals and take them back.
And the fact that it is a sprinkler monitoring panel, and it understands what we want it to do. And when you look at the standard, it does tell you that you've got to pick up certain signals, you've got to pick up certain faults, and it tells you what it should do, and that's what FlowWatch does. It does what it's meant to do, and it's great because sprinkler people can understand it, and it's just that thing, isn't it? It's things are going to change and things are moving forward. But for me, it's just great. Like when you're trying to explain something, you look on your phone and you know what's happening. Many a time they're sort of doing a demo, and I can sort of laugh and just ring up and say like, I can see somebody's on it, and I could be in London or I could be in Scotland, and they could be doing a demo for a customer, and I can see what's happening, and it just shows you the power of what the product can do.
And a little plug, I think, for Project Fire is about the FlowWatch and Zone Check can easily be integrated together, can't they?
One of its and this is interesting, like you say, talking about shows. So we did the fire safety show this week, and we had a customer that come on, and he says, I used FlowWatch on a job just going back 2 years ago, and he said no one had thought about the monitoring. It been left to last minute. You guys come with FlowWatch. We brought Zone Checks residential, and he said, we didn't know what to do. Got it all linked up, got it working. And then we sort of told him the latest updates on what we've done with the product, how we improved it, and he was over the moon. And again, that's from going to a show. You get feedback. It reminds somebody what we're doing, and and it's just like you say, it's just energising. It's just letting people know what you're doing. But if I didn't go to that show, I wouldn't get that feedback maybe. And it just reminds you of stuff that's happened.
Oh, it is so important to speak to the people who are actually using the product, actually on site, touching it, because they've got the ideas. It's again like yesterday at the Project Fire where someone's talking about FlowWatch, and he sort of said it's really easy to wire up and use. It's really user friendly, and that's what we were trying to do. Not try and make things too difficult. We want people to be able to wire it up, get it to work, because they need to get that project done and move on. So that's what we're trying to do, and it's with a lot of products. Always trying to look and see how we can make it better, how we can make it easy to use, and just make it a simple way to use things and move forward. So it's good. And what about the future then? What's the next big thing coming through?
To be honest, there's a lot of things in our R&D, and there's a lot of things that are going through. So there's work on new sprinkler heads, there's work on new different types of valve sets. So there's a lot of things that are happening, but as you know, approvals, it takes time. So sometimes while I'm excited, I have to wait, because if you're going to do LPCB, FM, UL, VDS, CE, it's a lot of time. But we have got lots of things happening, like I said, moving into more onto commercial panels. So over the next sort of over the next months, I think people will see there'll be a lot of things starting to change and come out from Rapidrop. We're not going to stop still, put it that way.
Good, I'm pleased to hear it. And what about yourself? What are your plans for next couple of weeks? More events, more of the same?
I've definitely got to get out to more customers.
Never stops.
I've got that never stops. Definitely got to do. I've got more demos, more presentations to do. Even speaking to a couple of customers yesterday where they want me to come and do some demos and presentations on products, which is what I enjoy, which is good. And that's a great thing when you know it's working, when your customers are asking, will you come and sort of support us? To me, that means one, they've got trust in what we're doing, one, they believe in our products, and if they're going to let us talk with their customers as well, it's really important. And I'm seeing more of that actually. People are really getting more involved in sort of, I know it's a horrible word to use all the time, partnership or just working together. There is a lot more sort of working together, and that comes in with training as well.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks so much for your time, Paul. And it was good to hear a bit more about your background and the background of Rapidrop. And we wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Well, join us again for next episode. We'll be talking to someone else from the fire sprinkler industry, and we'll get a new, different perspective on what's going on there. So join us next time. Bye bye. Are they?
Is that right?
I should have paused a bit.
Yeah.
In fact, let's do that one more time.
Yeah.
I'll just say thanks for coming.
Yeah.
And I'll finish it in a slightly different way, I think. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, thanks, Bold. Thanks so much for joining us today. It was really nice to hear a bit more about your background and about Rapidrop and what things are cooking up over in Peterborough.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot for joining us, and we'll see you next time.